Human being can simply be, which is a unique quality of the human being, that we can simply be, that we are not compulsive action, that's what it means. Our action…
You ready for the video?
I am.
Let's do it. Conscious practice. What's conscious? This is V and
Julia Grace.
And today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on
The power of being alone.
My name is V. I'm an aspiring yogi, love all things meditation, yoga, and wisdom based. Super grateful to have Julia here on the show. Want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name's Julia Grace, and I am a lover of nature and humans as they go through the lifespan and their relationship to themselves. And so I started a foundation called Alma, which addresses loneliness through movement and arts and really specializes in working with the elderly. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here. I think this will be super relevant to the actual video itself. And with that,
Let's get into the video.
He said, it's better to walk alone than to walk with a fool. If you want, consciously you can evolve in this evening. There is no limit as to how a human being can become. This is something that every human being must do. Then coming together will be hugely rewarding. When Gautama, the Buddha, was asked, is it better to walk alone or in company? He said, it's better to walk alone than to walk with a fool. Well, that's him, not me. He was quite sure that only a fool will walk with you. So he said, it's better to walk alone than to walk with a fool. Certain lore in this country says, when you want to do a short and quick journey, walk alone. When you want to do a long journey, walk in company. But the important thing is, who is walking with you? Not always being together is a good thing. Many times, being together can be a nuisance. So, first and foremost, unless you are a twin, even then, we come alone and we go alone. If one does not know how to be by himself or herself, then being together can be a lot of nuisance. We are referred to as human beings. Human beings means every other creature is what it is simply because of what it does. But a human being can simply be, which is a unique quality of the human being, that we can simply be, that we are not compulsive action, that's what it means. Our action is conscious and judicious. But generally, when people get together, generally, people are in compulsive action. It can be an association where there could be a purposeful action, or it can be a gang where there can be more purposeful action, or it can be a crowd which can be a compulsive action. So essentially, to be human means we have reached that point of evolution within ourselves that if we wish, we can simply sit here, just be. We can consider as to what action to take and what not to take. This is definitely individual. When individuals come together, we say, it's we in plural, but still it is individuals who have to come together. To be an individual means you are not further divisible. That means you're just one. People find different ways to divide themselves within themselves. In India, with 10,000 years of cultural history, we have invented various words to divide ourselves. It's very common for people to talk in terms of Atma, Paramatma, Ahankara, this one and that one. But every culture has this in their own way. When things are going right, when good things are being done, if you ask people, they say, yes, I did it. When things don't go right, when things go wrong, then they will try to find somebody. If they don't find anybody, he is always there. When they are very wonderful, of course they take pride in being how wonderful they are. When they turn nasty, they say, it was my ego. Mr. Ego is always a fall guy. So individual means, but if I'm wonderful, it's me. If I'm nasty, it's me. All of you. Are you 24 hours wonderful? Hello? Are you 24 hours wonderful? No, sometimes wonderful, sometimes nasty, sometimes beautiful, sometimes ugly. It's okay. If we understand it is me who is capable of being absolutely wonderful and it is me who is capable of being absolutely nasty another moment, then gradually the number of moments of nastiness will keep on receding. If I see what is wonderful is me, what is nasty is… In India we have many words, it's my karma, what can I do? Now, you must fix this. Being an individual is very important, that means you're not further divisible. If I'm wonderful, it's me, if I'm nasty, it's me. If I succeed, it's me, if I fail, it's me. You have to fix this. I'm just asking you a simple question. Within this, how many people? Hello? How many people within you? One, two? Only one. If you're one, you're a normal human being. If you're more than one, you're either schizophrenic or you're possessed. You either need a psychiatrist or an exorcist. But you will see whenever things don't go right, another guy will pop up from somewhere. So, becoming an individual means you killed all those pop-ups and just said, this is me. This what is me has many dimensions. If I don't see this is an individual, I cannot divide this further, then transformation will not happen. If transformation does not happen, if people come together in that state, there will be more mess than solutions. All creatures hang out together. Whether it is various wild creatures, most of them hang out together. Even monkeys who are just one step behind us, they are also in bunches. It is only human being who can sit alone and transform himself or herself, because this is the prerogative of being human, that we can simply be. This is why you are called human being, you are capable of being. You are not in a compulsive state of activity. If you want, consciously you can evolve. In this evening you can evolve if you're willing. It doesn't take 1,000,000 years. because our evolution is not biological anymore, our evolution is conscious. For every other creature, it is fixed. Nature has fixed two lines within which every other creature lives and goes. But once you have come as a human being, there is only bottom line, there is no top line. There is no limit as to how a human being can become. So before we associate ourselves with people, it'll be good every day in the morning or a certain period of your life, if one withdraws to spend a little time with oneself and see how, in what ways can this be little better than the way it was yesterday, this life? How it can be a little better life than what it was yesterday, because most people are coming together for their needs. To fulfill needs, people come together. Some people come together to fulfill a purpose or a cause. Some people come together to eat, drink and be together because they cannot be alone. This is something that every human being must do. A certain period of time, you do one thing, just 24 hours, take a break from everything, not today, right now you're among people. You take a break sometime, just 24 hours. And don't read, don't watch television, don't use a phone. Simply sit in your room, alert, not sleeping. And if you watch the nature of your mind, you yourself will certify, this is a madman. Because for most people, their mind cannot stay on any one thing. Unless they're in activity, simply they cannot be here. In compulsive state of psychological activity is on. When you are like this, you cannot be. That means you cannot be a human being. Being has to happen. Only then togetherness will be very rich. If you know how to be by yourself, then coming together will be hugely rewarding and of tremendous value. That means we came together consciously.
So Julia, as a psychotherapist yourself, what's your first reaction to this video?
I love it. It's like nutrients for me to listen to these types of talks and philosophy and wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. And I want to tell the viewers more about what you're doing. You have a movement that is centered around loneliness. Is that correct?
That's right.
Want to tell us more about what that is?
Sure. So I have two movements. One is called the Wave Silent Disco, and that is really a community dance movement experience that is inviting people to be more connected with themselves. And because it's a silent disco experience, you really do have this inner experience. You go inwards and you're able to be with yourself in a way that you might not allow or get the opportunity to in your day-to-day life. They're also noise canceling, so you literally, quite literally, you don't hear the outside noise and you're with yourself, with the music, and with the emotion that the music is bringing up, or the guidance that's coming through, and you have this opportunity to just be with yourself, to be with nature, because it's an outdoor experience, and also to be with others. But I love what Sadhguru said, is like you have to learn how to be with yourself first before you could really have a rich experience with another. And being with yourself means embracing all those parts of you, because it's really interesting, to say like how many of you are in there, how many are there? And if you're with yourself, if you think about all your moods and all the different opinions you have, and different roles you wear and hats you wear and different pressures you put on yourself, and there's a lot of different parts of you, and then there's like more childlike parts, there's more adult-like and serious parts, and so all of those parts, they behave differently, and some are easier to be with, some are more challenging to be with. So the goal of the Wave and everything I do is to begin to develop a relationship with yourself that is loving no matter what part appears, to love all the parts of yourself so that you don't have to pretend to be anything than you are. And when you are compassionate to the parts that might be challenging or overeating parts or judgy parts or cranky parts, if you can be compassionate with those parts of yourself, you're more pleasant to be with. So when you're alone, you're never alone. You're with yourself. I love saying this distinction, that you're never by yourself. You're with yourself. So what kind of you do you want to be with? And what kind of you are you keeping company with yourself? Are you really critical? Are you really, putting a lot of pressure on yourself? Are you kind and forgiving? And so when you can be that way with yourself, you can be that way with others. And so, yeah, that's it in a nutshell of how moving with yourself and being with yourself in the dance also supports your ability to overcome loneliness, which really I just believe is a rejection of part of yourself.
That was a really cool thing that you just share with the viewers, and I love the movement too that you've started. It's amazing, and it's also really great to see how it connects with what he was saying, right? It's actually interesting. He says this one line, which is that if you get bored when you're alone, then you're obviously in bad company. So the whole point is to literally learn how to sit still with yourself. As you said, you're not by yourself, you're with yourself, right? Yeah. So I love that little shift in frame of just viewing the same thing. I think perspective is a very, very powerful tool to shift how you view things, and that can make a tremendous difference on how you view life and how you experience life at the end. And curious, after watching this video and from your experience here, also being a psychotherapist, which is super cool, would you say your view on loneliness or being alone has changed, or maybe you got further strengthened? How was that after watching the video?
Watching the video, I really loved his idea of like the individual is something that you can't divide any further. That part really, it had me like, I was trying to understand how that is, because there are so many different parts of us. But the truth is that those are all these different parts, but there's one aspect of you that remains constant. And that is the part, like the self with a capital S, as we say in IFS, internal family systems. Like there's all these parts and they have all these different opinions and they formed as you've grown up, but the self with a capital S always remains constant and the same, and it is that loving, compassionate, curious part of you. And so as you begin to access more and more of that, you really do feel that sense of the I am presence that I think Sadhguru is referring to. Yeah,
absolutely. Great perspective there again, too. And I've also learned this and heard this, and we were actually talking about this, too, that there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Being lonely is more of a psychological thing, and I've, at least with my journey, I even had a little bit of anxiety in the past, and so I could relate with this stuff. So I've learned to start paying more attention to the reality of life and less to the psychological, as he calls it, the psychological drama. At times our mind makes up all these scenarios and stories, and why give it attention? There's so much real life to look at, like the trees, the nature. You're not ever truly alone. Literally, half your lungs are literally resting on the tree, and so you are literally connected to the earth. It's just a matter of being aware of it or not. So I want to thank you so much, Julia, for sharing this perspective here. I mean, it's really cool to have your background as well, just shedding further light to the topic. I want to share with the viewers where they can find you, your social medias, maybe anything else that you wanted to shout out.
Sure. Well, you can find me at Julia Grace Love, or frolicking some park and some nature, and also at the Wave Silent Disco if you'd like to learn more about the movement, then come dance with us. And then if you're interested in the work that I do with the elderly, it's at Alma Cares at almamovement.org.
Well, thank you so much again for being here. Check her out. All of her stuff will be in the comments down below. Also, if you have any other video reaction requests, topics, or guests that you want to see in the show, you can also comment down below. We'd love to hear your views on what I've shared, what Julia shared, what Sadhguru has shared. It's an open platform here, so let us know in the comments down below. With that, make this a great day. Take it joyfully and stay conscious. You did great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing.